News! Okay, we'll start with this. What is fast becoming one of the more popular segments here on the channel, Ring IQ Hate Mail. Regular here on the channel that goes by the name Jerry Soriano didn't like my recent coverage of David Benavidez's move to the cruiserweight division, absconding from light heavyweight in fights with Artur Beterbiev, fights with Dimitri Bivol. Jerry Soriano said, "Didn't you say Zurdo would beat Benavidez?"
No, I didn't.
Benavidez will never move up and fight the big boys. He's a weight bully. Why doesn't he fight Morrell?
I picked him to beat David Morrell. What the fuck are you talking about?
He won't because he's scared. I have a highlight reel of all your David Benavidez hate getting the best of your ring boxing IQ. One instance, David Benavidez needs to respect the Bivol versus Beterbiev trilogy and let that play out.
Well, except that he didn't. When David Benavidez thought that there would be a trilogy between them, what did he do? He went through the WBC for an email title, knowing that Dimitri Bivol was busy, at least as far as David knew, as far as David was concerned, and that's when he chose to go after him, when he thought he would be all tied up with the trilogy, so he didn't let it play out.
Jerry Soriano continued, "That's the excuse they use not to fight Benavidez in November. Then now it's he's ducking because he's no longer waiting for anybody and is making his own power moves."
Only a Benavidez fan, a Benavidez stan, would look at a Zurdo Ramirez fight as being a power move. What the fuck do you think is gonna happen after that fight? If he wins, what do you think happens? He ascends and becomes the face of Mexican boxing?
No.
It's Zurdo Ramirez, buddy. Calm down.
Calm the fuck down and stop lying to yourself, because this was a move that I called well over a year ago. This was a move that I called in the summer of last year. A little bit before that, actually. And I've got the receipts to prove it. You frequent this channel enough that you should know that, and stop pretending that you didn't hear me. I caught David Benavidez leaving the light heavyweight division after a short campaign for a Zurdo Ramirez fight well over a year ago.
Plenty of people here on the channel have highlighted that.
I don't know what rock you were living under at the time, but it really doesn't matter because I have the receipts to prove it, the video evidence that you can go look at yourself. You're neither funny or charming with this particular brand of cognitive dissonance, and that's what it is. It's not being able to handle what I said psychologically.
Because you know that I'm right.
So you disavow it altogether and pretend that I said something else, hoping that whatever I said is buried enough in the past, I won't be able to pull it up at the drop of a hat, except that I can. I have the kind of credibility that somebody like you can't buy. Lesser individuals that come from lesser stock, whereas somebody like me, I make sure that if I'm gonna say something, it's gonna matter. It's gonna stick.
It'll be based on the facts. I won't fill the air with nonsense like somebody like you, Jerry.
That's all you do while doing your best impersonation of a WWE character. Your points are not made more valid based on how many decibels you can reach. You're just loud and wrong and in debt because me and you made a bet.
You're trying to act stupid like you don't remember what it is. I told you back then. Told you last year. Push comes to shove, and whatever's whatever, David Benavidez's light heavyweight campaign will come and go without a Bivol fight, without a Beterbiev fight, that in the end, he won't fight either of them. And those are the big boys that I was talking about, not Zurdo Ramirez.
You owe me $100, Jerry, but I don't expect you to pay it because I know what kind of person you are. I took on that bet knowing you're just gonna Welsh. You're just gonna talk yourself out of it because you're a fucking weasel. You don't come from good stock. You spend so much time trying to be a character that you lack character. Any real character of any kind. That's why you're lying through your teeth now. And in the end, what is that supposed to accomplish when I can pull up everything I said, week to week, month to month, on video?
Or did you forget that this is YouTube, and I have a YouTube channel where everything I said has been uploaded, has been recorded? How else would you and so many other people have heard it? The main tenet of being a David Benavidez fan seems to be celebrating mediocrity, because he fought an over-the-hill Alexander Vosdik, an inexperienced David Morrell, and an Anthony Yard who had already been knocked out 2 times before David laid a glove on him.
And don't hit me with the sour grapes because I picked David to win that fight. Whatever's whatever, I picked David to beat Anthony Yarde. Now what the fuck do you want me to do? You want me to look at that and be overly impressed? That he fought those 3 guys, Old Vosdick, inexperienced Morrell, and Anthony Yarde. War-torn Anthony Yarde. This is what you're so fucking excited about?
This is what you're writing me love letters about? This what gets you hot?
No, it's because he's moving up the cruiser. It's because he's fighting Zerto, who already got taken to school by Dmitry Bivol. And what do you want me to do? You want me to look at that Zerto Ramirez fight as being better than Bivol?
Better than better, Beef.
Fucking freaks and geeks and their parasocial relationships with pugilists.
He's taking control of his career. He's not waiting around for anybody.
Here's a fucking newsflash. This guy has been talking about leaving light heavyweight since before he fought David Morrell. This guy has had his eyes on a Zerto Ramirez fight before he even had his second fight as a light heavyweight. So this is something that Team Benavidez thought long and hard about, to the point I think it was never their intention to fight Dmitry. It was never their intention to fight Artur. It was always their intention to move up and fight Zerto. And I said as much on plenty of videos, so I don't know how you missed it.
I don't care either. You're probably just in denial.
So miss me with the bullshit about things that Ring IQ said. Whatever Ring IQ said, he can pull up himself on video to make you look like a fucking idiot.
So you do that pretty well all on your own.
Men's light heavyweight news. The World Boxing Council won't sanction Joshua Buatsi versus Ben Whitaker as final eliminator. The World Boxing Council canceled its previous order for a light heavyweight final eliminator between British contenders Joshua Buatsi and Ben Whitaker just a week after announcing it, in the wake of Whitaker's one-round blitz of Benjamin Gavazzi on November 29th. The World Boxing Council decided to move him to 3rd in its light heavyweight rankings and called for him to face the second-ranked Buatsi. Former WBC champion Artur Beterbiev, its number 1 contender. I don't think Ben Whitaker is yet in a place where he should be trailing the likes of Artur Beterbiev or Joshua Buatsi, for that matter. Not that I'm impressed with Joshua Buatsi, because I'm not, but Ben Whitaker needs more time in, a lot more time in, I think, before you can rank him right behind them. The Buatsi versus Whitaker order made at its convention in Thailand last week stated that the winner of the fight would be the first in line for a shot at champion David Benavidez, who successfully defended his title against Anthony Yarde on November 22nd in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Are you paying attention? Do you see what the WBC tried to do? They tried to use 2 Brits to circumvent the Russian who is ranked ahead of them. The former champion, and not just the former champion, the former undisputed champion. Artur Beterbiev is ranked ahead of Joshua Buatsi, is ranked ahead of Ben Whitaker, but if those 2 would have fought each other, they would have become the mandatory, and he would have been left in limbo.
If the WBC is so keen on ordering fights, why didn't they order Beterbiev versus Buatsi?
Because they don't want Artur Beterbiev to hold their title. They're not keen on Eastern European fighters. Before they back them, they would back the Brits, as they view them as providing a better financial incentive than Russians, Eastern Europeans.
The WBC cited its decision to rescind the order for Joshua Buatsi to fight Ben Whitaker as being due to silver championship obligations for Whitaker. Whitaker, 28, won the vacant silver title by virtue of his 135-second win over Gavazzi in Birmingham, and so he looks to defend it next. The decision to cancel a final elimination bout due to silver title obligations has left some scratching their heads, given that most boxers fight for the silver title to earn a final eliminator in the first place. Regardless, immediately after the fight with Buatsi was ordered, Whitaker's new promoter, Eddie Hearn, told The Ring that they were not planning on advancing with it anyway. Instead, Whitaker's contract with Matchroom states that his next fight will take place overseas, with a February debut in the United States planned. Whitaker would return home to the UK for another headliner over the summer. The next move for Buatsi, meanwhile, is not as clear. He claimed a controversial majority decision win against Zach Parker last month after 10 rounds in Manchester. In the aftermath of that fight, an enraged Parker, who insisted he was robbed, submitted a request to the WBA for an immediate rematch with Buatsi, but it was denied. A rematch is possible, but Buatsi may look at alternatives also. Buatsi is with Queensbury Promotions. It'll be up to Frank and George to sort him out. You know, this is why I don't respect the WBC in any capacity, because an alphabet organization in an ideal world has but one function, and that's to provide the sport of boxing a pecking order, a hierarchy, and time again, the WBC prioritizes their own interests over that function. They're more interested in gifting that title to a Brit than they are the worthiest contender, which in this instance is a Russian, a former champion who's more accomplished and more capable than either Joshua Buatsi or Ben Whitaker. So if you guys are so keen on ordering fights, after you rescinded this order for Buatsi versus Whitaker, why didn't you order Buatsi versus Beterbiev?
Because they don't really want Artur Beterbiev to fight for their title. They don't really want him to get it back.
Part of them rescinding that order is that Matchroom wasn't keen on making that fight between Ben Whitaker and Joshua Buatsi anyway. Why would they be? Ben Whitaker is just now entering into contender status, and those eggs still need more bacon. There will be a time when he's ready for a Buatsi fight, but that order, the World Boxing Council were jumping the gun, and they're not the ones in charge. They're not the ones that put up the money to make these fights happen. That's the promoters. So just because you order it doesn't mean it's going to happen. As Ben Whitaker readies himself fight by fight, there will be a time and a place for a Craig Spider Richards fight, a Dan Aziz fight, and a subsequent Joshua Buatsi fight, maybe an Anthony Yarde fight. The bodies are there to build Ben Whitaker's profile, but it will happen when Ben and Matchroom want it to happen, not when the WBC says so.
That's why they're so fucking flaky with their mandates. They want to make it seem like they're the ones in charge, when in reality, the ones putting up the money, the ones paying the bills, those are the guys in charge. And you guys, you're just along for the ride, along for your piece.
There is a growing disdain in many quarters for the alphabet organizations, but more specifically, the World Boxing Council. People are losing a lot of respect for them really fast. In men's heavyweight news, you may have heard, not but 1 or 2 hours ago, sources at Ring Magazine have advised the Ring that a highly anticipated showdown between the former heavyweight champions Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua will headline a Riyadh season mega event next year. Before that collision happens, the Ring has also learned that Fury and Joshua are slated to see action in separate fights as part of next year's Riyadh season, not including Anthony Joshua's excursion with Jake Paul in a little over a week's time. Most are expecting Anthony to plow through him. And being honest with you, if he can't do that in short order, that lets all the air out of the tires for a Fury fight. Even with Fury's inactivity, it's imperative that Anthony Joshua make Jake Paul suffer. He has to be surgical. He has to be sadistic, punishing. That every round that passes is a punishing round for Jake Paul to show playtime is over. And Jake Paul don't belong anywhere near the same ring as an Anthony Joshua if you are to try and then sell a Tyson Fury fight. This is a big part of the reason I don't think this is scripted. I don't think this is a rehearsed waltz, because Anthony Joshua is still an active boxer with other fights to sell. His reputation still matters to him, that he would not so easily hand it over to be a dancing bear in Jake Paul's circus. That if he signed on, it's to beat him up. It's to do to him what he's done to Francis Ngannou.
Drive him out of boxing.
So I don't think it's scripted, and I expect Anthony to let the contest go as long as he wants it to. As soon as he wants to knock out Jake, that's as soon as he does. And that's how I see it. Now this talk of fights in the interim in the coming year before Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury face each other. Are the Saudis messing up Should they not just go straight into it?
Some would say that's what killed the Joshua versus Wilder fight, that instead of making them fight straight away, they gave them fights in the interim. Anthony Joshua held up his end of the bargain, but Deontay Wilder could not hold up his.
So would it have been better if they made that fight straight away? The problem with that contention is people forget Wilder was coming off over a year-long layoff. He needed a tune-up. So they got him what they thought was a tune-up, a Joseph Parker fight. They didn't expect that Joseph Parker would bully him like that. But that's why they did it, because Wilder was coming off a long layoff. Now, Tyson Fury is coming off a long layoff. He hasn't fought since the second Usyk fight.
So would it be better if Fury just goes straight into the Joshua fight, because that gives him room to make excuses afterwards that he was coming off a layoff, he hadn't fought in a while, where AJ was more active. It's a necessary evil. I know a lot of people don't like it, but they need those interim fights to sharpen up, to show people that they've still got it, or enough they can put on a show together.
And for what else some people might not like, that if Anthony and Tyson make it there and face each other, they won't be facing each other on British soil. They'll be facing each other in Saudi. There have been a lot of complaints, a lot of gripes about that. The number of big fights that are being outsourced to that region of the world that some people think is shortchanging the boxing fans. All I can tell you is that if the Saudis are the ones paying for it, they're the ones that decide where it happens. And there's not much more to it than that.
You can idealize the fuck out of this thing, that a fight between two major British fixtures in British boxing should be happening in Britain. Ideally it should, but things are less than ideal in the world of boxing, and who but the Saudis have the kind of money to bring Tyson Fury out of retirement, because this fight wasn't going to happen on its own. This fight, like the Usyk fight, might only happen because the Saudis are paying for it. If not for them, we wouldn't have got that one. And if not for them, we might not get this one.
At the risk of repeating myself, somebody has to be the adult in the room when boxing fans are more semblant of petulant and whiny children. If not for the Saudis, you never know, Tyson Fury might have stayed retired and we don't get shit. We don't get shit at all. So if this is even happening, it's because of them. And if they want it in Saudi, you gotta eat it.
You gotta fucking deal with it. Just buy the pay-per-view and shut the fuck up.
Because it's that or nothing. You understand? It's either they do it on their dime, where they want it, or it doesn't happen at all. How many attempts have there already been to put Tyson Fury in the ring with Anthony Joshua? And it fell apart every single time. This is the last hope. This is the last-ditch effort. If you are still interested in seeing these two guys fight, the Saudis are our best bet to make it happen.
So grow up.
Because you can't physically be there, just get your passport out. And if that's too much trouble, just watch it at home. At least you'll have that to watch.